getting used to these moments? How do you go through your emotions at the end of these kind of games?
I'm at peace. I'm at peace with my game. Understanding that I'm trusting these moments. I have all the confidence in the world to make these shots. My teammates and my coach staff give me that confidence, and just trying to make plays out there.
How do you keep your head in a game when you're down 7 with 40 seconds to go?
It's the NBA. Crazier things have happened. It's just what basketball is, and especially the end of our season has looked a lot like this. We've had many games where you could take a screenshot at any moment and be like, how did they win this game? But we just have a resilient group, man. We just figure out ways to win. We don't give up, and we're battle tested. We've, as a group, we've basically been together for about 2 years now, and that continuity has been really good for us. We've had to figure out so many different ways to win. When some guys got it going, when some guys don't got it going, we just find a way. And today that was what it was all about.
Did the Sam Cassell come to you in the moment?
I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that, man. It was just right in the moment. Yeah, man, I've been waiting for that. I'll take that fine gladly.
Rest is good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Obviously a little sore. They said they were going to ramp up the physicality. They did. We're not crying. We're just coming out here to play basketball.
To get 1 assist the first half, first 3 quarters, I feel like you said the physicality were really taking it to you. Just what were they doing at first to sort of make it tough on you, and then kind of in the fourth quarter, 11 of your 19, what allowed you to sort of break free?
Yeah, they were just in a full deny, trying to take me completely out, and that's something we've seen from some teams this year, and I thought we just did a great job of staying with it. That allowed Drew to play on the ball a little bit more. He had 13 assists, 13. It's a big game. I think we just got to keep staying with it offensively, keep staying our continuity. It's junk defense, and just trying to put some more variation in the game. They got a bunch of different guys out there that are in full deny on me, and I just have to, keep my head. I think it's easy to get frustrated in that moment, but teammates, coach staff told me to stay with it, and I was just able to break loose there at the end of the game. But yeah, man, it's just part of it. You're seeing a lot of different schemes. It happens throughout the course of a season, throughout the course of a series. So we just stayed with it, figured it out, and it's a big one for us.
Can you describe what it's like to hit these game-winning shots in these moments for those of us watching you out there?
Yeah, I mean it's a special feeling, man. It's a lot of fun. I mean, like any basketball fan or anybody who's involved in basketball at all, everybody in their life has imagined being a kid, being in the driveway, being in the living room, time winding down in their head, shooting it, missing, putting more time on the clock. All those things. Like this is a kid's game, man. I get paid a lot of money to play a kid's game, so I'm just having fun out there, just having fun with what I'm doing. And winning is fun, but I love being in these situations. Somehow, some way, we find our way in these situations a lot, and we just got to find ways to win. And I thought we did a great job. We wear the wear down effect, for 4 quarters, for 48 minutes, allowed us to stay with it and get a big win in the end.
Just speaking of the last shot, just take us through the last play. Obviously, you missed the free throw. What's your read on that coming off of it? How'd you manage to get a hold of it? And just what are you thinking at that point when the clock's winding down? You got to decide what direction you're trying to go with that.
Yeah, I was pissed. I missed the layup.
Mm-hmm.
I lost the ball. If I would have held on the ball, it would have been an 1 and we tied the game. But it's just funny how it works out sometimes. Ball came off. I jumped to grab it. And I was going to shoot the floater right there. I kind of was looking around, but I just wanted to get out to the top. And then I just saw me and Ty Jerome at the top of the key. I had space and just trying to make a play. Felt comfortable there and, just knocked it down. But, I think there were so many plays that led up to that moment that were so big. I mean, AA, Superman flew in, Michael Jordan from the top of the key with the tip dunk. Should have been N1. I thought Myles made some big post steals. That Drew got a big steal there at the end. Pascal had a big layup. There was so many different. I thought Bennedict Mathurin the last 2 games has made plays that won't be spoken about enough. You know, when they went on their run last game in the third quarter, he made a big corner three for us. Thought he was really big there in the fourth, you know, getting some tip-ins and different things like that. We just figured it out, man. We have so many different guys who chip in and play a part in these wins, and a total team effort, man. It's not, there's so many things that lead up to that play. Yes, that's one shot, but there's so many plays that lead up to that, and that's a total team win for us, and that's who we are. You know, we're not a one-man show. We don't, you know, we have so many different guys who can chip in, get in double figures. I mean, we had 6 guys in double figures tonight, you know, and that's been the theme for us and our success many times. So we're just trying to play the right way, and you know, we're a resilient group, and I'm really proud of our group for this effort tonight.
Speaking of that, Rick obviously goes with a whole sub lineup at the end of the third, and then you, Drew, Myles all go all 12, and it's your top 6 guys in the fourth quarter entirely. First off, did you know that was coming? Basically, did you know he was making the first move to make the second, and how big was that those guys hung in there in that stretch? I think they were, maybe a couple were -3 at worst, and then set you guys up that you've got a whole quarter together.
Yeah, no, I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on. Yeah, we have faith in coach's rotations, trusting, you know, what he sees out there, and understand, you know, when we fouled and we subbed in for offense for the last 5 seconds, got the 3, so I knew he would leave me on the floor after that, and we're just trying to make plays, man, trying to figure it out. You know, we wear it on them for 48 minutes. At the end of it, you know, they came out, pressed us full court, you know, they played more our style, and by the end of the game, you know, everybody was tired, but they were tired, you know, and I feel like that's part of the wear down effect of 48 minutes. So I feel like as a group, you know, we just stuck with it, man, understood. We went down 17 in the first quarter. We just talked, hey, we were down 17 against Milwaukee, and we figured out, let's win every quarter by 6, win the second quarter by 6, lose the third quarter. So we knew we had ground to make up, and we just figured it out, man. And like I said, man, we're a really resilient group, and I'm really proud of our group.
Ty, how big is it just to be up 2-0 in the series, heading back to game-breaking plays that you guys have found success in?
Yeah, huge, man, huge. You know, I always say, you know, playoff series don't start till, you know, somebody wins a road game, but we won 2. And you know, we're going back home where we've had a lot of success over the last 2 years in the playoffs. But I think you have to understand, being down 2-0, losing both on your home floor, they're going to come to play desperate. And you know, this is a team who they don't lose often. You know what I mean? So coming in today, we expected a punch, and we were going to have to weather the storm. Well, they threw a big punch, you know, there in the first quarter, and we weathered that storm. And so we got to be ready to expect that in the third quarter, or in game 3. Obviously, we're dealing with some injuries, and we don't know who's going to play, but that doesn't matter. We have to keep the focus on us and play pacer basketball, and I think that's going to be the big thing going into game 3, is continue to be who we are. I mean, the past 2 games, we've had 17 turnovers both games. That is not who we are. You know, we really have to improve there. I feel like, you know, kudos to them for what they're doing defensively, but I feel like a lot of those are unforced. And so we'll watch the film, we'll figure out how we can be better there. We out-rebounded them today, which is shocking to see, because it didn't feel like that. But there's so many areas where we feel like we can improve, and that's the good thing about it. Good thing about this series, you're up 2-0, but you still know there's a lot to improve on. So, you know, it's a great thing about going home. We're gonna get 2 days. You know, everybody take care of their body, get to sleep in their own bed a little bit, and play at home in front of the greatest fans in the NBA. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Tyrese, do you feel like you feed off of that overrated chance that the Cavs fan base was giving you?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, that one was unexpected. I didn't know we had beef, but yeah, I guess that. I mean, good for them, man. That came out of nowhere, but it's just. I think now that label's there, they're all, as I was going to be every time we play somebody, every time on the road, they'll probably follow me until the next poll comes out, and then we'll see if I'm number 1 again. But you know, for me, I just control what I can, man. Yeah, I mean, we'll rate that.
Thanks, Ty.
Comebacks? How do you guys keep doing this?
No, don't get used to that. I mean, I still can't even really process it. It's crazy how it ended. But talk about just playing it out to the end and never giving up. So yeah, I guess that's what we did.
How do you keep thoughts of doubt out when you're down 7 with 40 seconds to go twice in a week?
I think you just got to play in the moment, just think about the play and see if you can make the next play, and then look at the scoreboard after and see what happens.
Just what all came together on the steal, basically on the inbound? Just what are you seeing there? Basically, where did you see the opportunity to go get the ball, and what was just how did you kind of?
Yeah, we weren't really trying to trap. I mean, we weren't really trying to foul right away, and I just tried to make a play on the ball. You know, they lobbed it up, and just try to get around them.
What do you think about the shot and play that Ty hit at the end of the game there?
Big time play, big time shot, and we lean on a guy like Ty in those moments.
Just obviously you had kind of a tough day, 8 turnovers. Basically, so what did you kind of have to do just to kind of put each of those past you and move on, basically, and move on to the next play?
It's not my first time having 8 turnovers. Shit.
Done that growing up before, so I mean, I've always felt like
I've done a good job of just turning the page on turnovers and bad plays, and I think down the stretch it opened up a little bit for me and I got a little more comfortable. But definitely want to improve on that next game for sure.
Thank you.
Got a bunch of points in that second half. How did that half feel for you out there?
Not much different. You know, just going out there and I got the feel for it, and I was able to make plays.
How do you think you guys are able to just keep your spirit, stay in games when it seems like it's on the brink, feels like it's over?
You know, I think we've been in those situations many times. So the ability to remain calm when things are not going our way. Getting in those situations a lot of times. I feel like it is a good advantage to have for us.
So what opened up for you offensively, just having opportunities to get to the rim, just what all kind of came together for you just to have a chance to attack?
He was very good.
Just being in the good positions at the right time. You know, I was able to get the ball, and TJ was able to give me the ball, which doesn't happen very often. So, just trying to make plays.
The shot play from Haliburton at the end, what do you think that is?
Oh, legendary. I don't want to talk too much about it, man. I expect Ty to make those shots. You know what I'm saying? So just going out there and getting ready for the third game, I feel like that's the biggest thing for us.
Rick talked a little bit about the atmosphere today and how it was raucous and all those things. Do you feel like Ty feeds off of those overrated chances to prove those people wrong?
I mean, it started how many weeks? 2 weeks ago, and he's been making big plays. People are still surprised. It's just shocking to me. He's been making big plays at big time, and we just need Ty to keep it going for us.
We talked a little bit about how you guys wore them down. Do you feel like you guys just have the extra intensity of getting up and down the floor?
No doubt. That's what we do. We've been doing this the whole season. It's hard to take it from us or try to replicate it when you haven't been doing it. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing that since the first game of the season, and we have the depth, to go out there and, like Rick says, to wear them down. So.
You guys went to an all-sub lineup in the just kind of midway through the third quarter, stuck with that the rest of that period. You guys were able to hang in there with that. Just what do you think that group did well to kind of keep contact and stay with it?
Just bring the intensity. That's kind of when I pretty much got it going, and I mean, it was a great opportunity to go out there and take advantage of the timing to give the team a boost, scoring boost. I feel like that's what I do. Scoring is my biggest ability, so I had the chance to be able to do it, and I think I did it pretty well.
You guys have now come back down 7.
How did you get used to this? Like twice in a week?
I mean, I don't want to have to depend on it, but it's something that's been very fun, man. I think that we've seen a lot, these last 3-4 weeks of the season and whatnot. It prepared us for moments like such. And it's a thing of beauty right now. It's playing some great basketball.
How do you keep your head in focus when you're down 7, 40 seconds to go, don't have the ball, that you guys can still do it?
There's always time on the clock. That's what we keep telling ourselves. We know how our pressure, wears on teams. I think that we did a good job of applying the pressure a lot better in the second half, but they came out and picked their pressure up and whatnot, and I think we responded accordingly.
You tipped the rebound to Ty on that last shot. Take me through that moment for you.
I didn't think I don't remember who shot the free throw, but
he did.
Ty shot. I didn't expect him to miss. I don't know if he did it on purpose or what his plan was, but right place, right time. At times it just happens. Basketball guys are blessed, and
again, I was at the right place at the right time. I was able to get to him, and he did the rest.
What did you guys just have to shake off, especially after the first quarter? And you guys down 32-15
We
out of the break.
expected it. We expected, a punch like that. We want to be the ones that throw the first punch, but it doesn't always go that way. They again picked up the pressure, picked up the physicality. They hit shots. Donovan was ultra aggressive, and again, you have to be able to sustain that, for 48 minutes. And we were banking on our conditioning and just our mental toughness.
You just mentioned Donovan. Obviously, he's just going the rim over and over again. I mean, just what was it like for you guys, just as a whole, to try to defend him, basically, and what did you try to do to make it as tough on him as you could?
Yeah, Don's a special player. I've been a fan of his for a long time. We got the chance to play together. Team USA basketball World Cup, a few years ago, and that's my first time really being able to see him work in person. And he puts in a lot to his craft. And obviously they were undermanned tonight. He had to do a lot more, but we knew the ball was in his hands. He's difficult to guard, but again, it's a weird out effect. For 48 minutes, you got to keep making shot after shot after shot after shot, and I guess we live with the results. You mentioned that just the conditioning part. I mean, obviously Rick goes to an all sub lineup, kind of midway through, maybe 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, sticks with mostly with that group until I guess the last few seconds, and sticks with you, Drew, Ty for the full 12, Andrew, Pascal, and Ben being the only other three guys. Did you have a sense that was coming, basically, when he went with that all sub lineup that close to 12 was going to be asked of you in the fourth, basically, and how much do you think what they were able to do to kind of hold it together during that stretch set you guys up? It's a testament to what they've done all season long. We're able to depend on them, moments like such. And I always prepare myself for anything. I wasn't sure if I was playing the whole fourth or what the deal was, but if I was out there, I'm gonna give everything I got. And this time of the year, there's no such thing as tired. So you just got to play through, let adrenaline take you, and deliver.
Myles, is there a different type of pressure now that you guys do have a 2-0 lead heading back home?
It depends on how you look at it. I think that I enjoy the pressure. Yeah, that you call it. I enjoy being able to have a 2-0 lead and go play at home in front of our fans that, quite frankly, have been there for us all season long. So some call it pressure. I call it a privilege. It's a privilege to go and play this time of the year, especially at home.
They really put a lot of pressure on Haliburton, denied him the ball, just defending him well through the first couple quarters. He turns around, has that fourth quarter, 11 of his 19. What impressed you the most about just maybe tonight, just the way he handles these situations, like to be able to have that turnaround like that?
Yeah, I think teams try to pick on him a little bit. They're going to put him in every action defensively. Like you said, they're going to pick him up full court, try to body him, try to put him on the floor. Just his resiliency, man, with his frame and just his ability to, just get downhill and obviously create for us. It's huge, and he enjoys the moments. Like you just saw. He wants the ball in his hands. There's a lot of guys I've seen, even guys I've played with that doesn't necessarily want to take that shot or doesn't necessarily want to be in the mix right there. But he relishes those moments, and it's just again a testament just to his work ethic, his mental toughness, his mentality, and quite frankly, that boy cold, man. Just it over and over again.
Last year you guys won 2 road games total, the whole playoffs. What's different about this year's group in these settings?
Experience. I think experience is everything. I think that this group has been together for about 3-4 years now, and when you have those, we'll take it to last year. You're playing in the Garden in Game 7, or you're playing in the Boston Garden. When they're the best team, quote unquote best team in the league last year, was able to put that pressure on us. And so I think it was great for us, to experience all that. So. Yeah, man, it's just you take that experience, you learn from them, and then you apply it, this time of the year.
Just to go back to that, what do you feel like you guys did better to free him, basically, in the fourth quarter? Obviously, it becomes a whole team thing to get him some shots when they're putting that much focus.
Yeah, no, we had to screen for him better. I think that you got to pick him off a bit and then able to give him the ball so he can bring it up full court as opposed to trying to screen for him in the half court. And I think he did a better job of demanding the ball, quite frankly. He went to go get the ball as opposed to kind of waiting. And I think he did a good job of asserting himself.
Obviously, Drew and Aaron make a couple massive plays down the stretch there. Aaron with the tip dunk and Drew with the steal. Just, Drew obviously had a bit of a tough night with the turnovers, but how big were both of those guys again to kind of come up with the plays that you needed to have when you needed to have them?
Man, I say it over and over again with this team. It could be anybody's night. You know what I mean? It's just Aaron, he had 23 points. You know what I mean? And Pascal, he only had 12 tonight. You know what I mean? But the next game he goes for 30. You never know with this team, and it just speaks to the guys you have on this roster. Drew is one of the, if not the best, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Made a heads-up play
just like he did, in the Milwaukee game as well. And then Aaron, I expect nothing less from him, bro. He makes plays like that all the time. And, again, people don't really watch us play, so this might be a shock to some people. But it's how the way Aaron needs to play basketball, man.
Myles, twice in a week now, we've seen you guys experience the euphoria of accomplishing what felt impossible. Just what does that feel like in the moment?
Man, it's the most fun I've had playing basketball ever, bro. Honestly, like this group is special. I don't want to stop playing anytime soon. So, we're just going to continue to keep getting better and better. Drowning out the noise. It's easy to feel good for ourselves and be happy and whatnot, and butter ourselves up. We already know the media's gonna start talking about us now. Like, everybody's been doubting us, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, Pacers this, and we drown out that noise. We continue to work, keep our heads down, and take these 2 days to get ourselves right. And I believe it's Friday. Ready to go at it.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, Myles.
Hard to put all this into words, but Cleveland hit us with a hellacious punch early in the game. It was difficult to get the ball over half court, let alone score. We played from behind the whole game. We made a little progress in the second quarter. Lost it in the third, and then the fourth quarter we just hung in. We've been in a lot of these situations this year and down the stretch of the season. Our group has a belief in one another, and our thing is we just keep executing, we keep playing. Did a really good job situationally at the end, and obviously had to get lucky. But Tyrese hit another amazing shot to win the game. You don't see this very often, let alone twice in 1 week. And so we're very fortunate.
We've asked you a version of this question, it seems like, after dozens of close games in the last 2 months, but what is it about this group that makes these kind of wins possible?
It's just it's a group of great guys. This environment tonight is a first for a few guys on our roster. Mathurin's never been in an environment like this. Walker hasn't. Shepard was last year. He played in the playoffs from last year. And so, for some of our guys, the first half was really an adjustment period. I mean, you can't be asking for calls, when the other team is kicking your ass the way that they were. And so, halftime we gathered together and we just said, we just got to stay with it. We got to keep trying to make it hard, keep trying to wear them down. We got into some unusual substitution patterns, partially because of the situations, partially because of their size, partially because of who was playing well and those kinds of things. But Mathurin gave us a great lift. Nesmith made some amazing plays down the stretch. Loose ball plays, the tip dunk on the missed free throw was obviously, without that we got no chance. Tyrese, he came through again, and so we're very fortunate.
You mentioned the first half. I think Ty had like 1 assist the first half, maybe even 2 through the first 2 quarters. It seemed like they just made an effort to sort of cut off his passing. What you see from them defensively?
They made an effort to cut off his blood flow. I mean, really, they were making it hard, and they were hitting him, and they were, they were doing physical things, and they had set a tone, and it was difficult to get assists. It was difficult to catch the ball, let alone get assists or score. And so, give them a lot of credit for that. We were able to change the leverage in the fourth quarter. A little bit in the third, but in the fourth quarter, and we maintained enough energy to get it done and give ourselves a chance. And that's a great credit to our guys. And so we're I don't know how many times I'm going to say it. We're very fortunate.
I mean, just like Rick, how you've been coaching for a while? How hard is that? Like you guys took the first game. You may see teams that are like almost happy to sort of go back home 1-1. Like you guys really stayed throughout this game, had that mindset.
We just got to stay in the present. We got to concentrate on what's going on right now. Right now it's I don't know what time it is. I don't know when the bus goes to the plane, but I'm thinking about when I got to be in the bus, and then we'll think about what time we're going to get home, and then it's just a playoff series. You can't look forward, and you got to be careful about how much you look back. You got to, depending on your team, you got to do it the right way, and so there's still a lot up in the air with health, with a lot of things, but tonight demonstrated that particularly in the first 2.5 quarters, that doesn't matter who's on the floor. If a team is playing with that level of force and connectivity and physicality, and the crowd is behind them the way they were, they're gonna kick your ass, And they were kicking our ass for a long time, but I give our guys a lot of credit. They hung in, they kept executing, they kept fighting, and somehow found a way.
You mentioned substitution patterns. You obviously decided, and you don't always do this, to put in an all-sub lineup at the end of the third and then play your starters plus Ben all 12. I mean, just what all went into that? I guess at what point did you make that decision, and just how much you
played all 12.
I think you only played 6 guys for those 12. There had to be somebody who played 12.
It
obviously worked.
Well, you're not always, you chart out a minutes thing, on a minutes sheet or whatever you got. It's just a framework. It's not anything etched in stone. And I told Walker before the game tonight, I said you got to be ready for anything. There are a lot of things that can determine a lot of situational things, and he ended up in there in the first half and in the second half and in short minutes. And, that's a real dose of reality for a young player in this environment when they're going as hard as they were. And it was, swing upstream isn't even the word. We were trying to go into a hurricane that was coming at us. And so, but it's a 48-minute game, and one thing that we've continued to say is that Pacers basketball is 48 minutes. And sometimes it's 53 and sometimes it's 58. That's what we've seen in the last 2.5, 3 weeks.
In terms of guys swimming upstream, Drew had 8 turnovers tonight. He didn't have 8 turnovers in a game all year. And obviously he gets the steal just how important.
Each game's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different thing. And then, the next game they're going to come out even harder. And we're home, but that doesn't guarantee us anything. So we got 2 days now to look at the film. We'll be off tomorrow. We got to look at what happened in the first half, because it's very rare to struggle the way we did in the first half and still be able to win on the road. It doesn't matter who's out there for them, So, the good, fortune, was with us tonight because we hung in. But the series is 2/7 over. That's the way I look at it, and that's the way everybody should be looking at it.
Coach, you've been a part of a lot of crazy games. Where the sequence of how that one unfolded tonight, where does that one rank?
I don't know. Did you see the one last week? The one last week was a situation where a team had never done it in 1,200 tries. So look, it's you come into something like this, and a lot of people think, hey, you try to get one game, and then you have all this stuff going on with injuries, and nobody really knows what's happening. You get hit with a haymaker the way they did for the majority of the game, but you find a way to hang in. So you count your blessings, and we got to get ready for the next one.
Coach, what do you think was the biggest change in the fourth quarter for you guys, especially Tyrese, who seemed like he was having some trouble throughout the rest of the game, had 11 in that fourth quarter?
Well, I thought we wore them down some. And, Mitchell had a heroic game. But we right now we're deeper than them, and even when we weren't playing well, we were playing fresh guys, and so we've got to stay with what got us here, which is depth and togetherness, and as much full court pressure as we can. We got to make them work. We got to make it hard. Every playoff game is, it's hard. Hard things are hard.
Coach, what did you think about the just defensive pressure to cut off the blood flow of Tyrese by Max Strus and Isaac Okoro throughout the game?
Yeah, those guys. Those guys were playing at a very high level, at a very high level of intensity, a very high level of concentration, focus, and very physical. And so I can't give you a whole blow by blow for the last 3 minutes of the game. I haven't looked at it yet, but we hung in and found a way, and that's great. And now we got to circle the wagons again in a day and a half and try to figure out a way to do better next time.
Thank you, Coach. It'll be Myles and.
Hey everybody, Dustin Dopriak, Indy Star Pacers beat writer here. It's late and I didn't have anybody else to shoot this with me, so I'm just going this one on my own, but had to talk about this utter madness, basically, that the Pacers continue to dive into and find ways of winning basketball games in some of the most improbable of fashions. Pull this one off 120-119, and Pacers take a 2-0 lead in this series, win 2 games in Cleveland again. The number 1 seed, the team that won 64 games, second best record in Cleveland history, in Cavaliers history. And the Pacers are up on them 2-0 after just a couple of remarkable basketball games. This one in particular was completely wild. Obviously, the Cavs come into this one shorthanded, needed Donovan Mitchell to be heroic, and he was. He was absolutely incredible, 48 points. Cavs go up 17 points in the first quarter. They're up 20 early on, up 20 in the third quarter. Pacers find a way to keep chipping away and just pull off a miracle down the stretch. Again, they were down 7 with, I think, 50 seconds to go, maybe a minute, somewhere in that regard, and they've just find a way of pulling one out. Some incredible plays down the stretch. Aaron Nesmith with just a ridiculous tip dunk off two missed free throws by Pascal Siakam. He draws a charging foul, basically an offensive foul, and on an elbow from Donovan Mitchell, the Pacers find a way to score, and a Pascal Siakam layup there. Next play, Andrew Nembhard gets a steal. Tyrese Haliburton gets fouled going to the basket, misses his own, or makes the first free throw, misses the second, steps back, was going to go for a floater, pulled it back, decided to step out, takes a 3-point shot, 1.1 seconds left, wins the game. Just some remarkable stuff that comes together here. Obviously, as Haliburton was mentioning, just basically there's just so many little plays that put them in position, and so many little things. And really, obviously, one of the big keys in this one turns out to be a move that was not received well, I can tell you, on Twitter by Pacers fans. Basically, that they went to a full sub lineup in the third quarter, basically used all 6 of the subs that they tend to use. That's T.J. McConnell, Bennedict Mathurin, Jarris Walker, Ben Shepherd, Obi Toppin, and Thomas Bryant for basically about the last 5.5 minutes of that third quarter. And that group held it together. I mean, there weren't great moments, basically, and they were down by a bunch, and they left when they were still down by a bunch. But it set up the starters to play the entire 12 minutes, basically their top 6. Bennedict Mathurin had a phenomenal third quarter, and basically it was a big reason why they stayed in that one. He had a strong fourth as well, had, I think, 16, of his 18 points, 16 his 19 points in the game, basically in that stretch, basically like late third, early fourth when he eventually comes out. But that sets up Myles Turner, Andrew Nembhard, Tyrese Haliburton for all to go the final 12. Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith and Pascal Siakam to go most of that. But Haliburton was terrific down the stretch. Basically, had a hard time getting anything going for most of the game because Cleveland was just defending him so well. But was able to get to the rim a bunch down the stretch. I think at 11 points, I think all of them in the fourth quarter. Myles Turner, I thought really had a strong one in this one. It gets the tip out to set up Tyrese Haliburton for the 3, and just a lot of big things come together. But they wore the Cavs down, and the Cavs were obviously in a position to be worn down because they were playing without Evan Mobley, without Darius Garland, without DeAndre Hunter, all of whom were injured. Darius Garland had been dealing with toe sprain. Mobley and Hunter both got hurt in the last game. Mobley pairing with an ankle, Hunter with a dislocated thumb, and they needed a lot just to be in this game. They got a lot from Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen, but they still basically were digging really deep just to get guys out there. Craig Porter Jr. had to play a lot. Javonte Green had to play a lot, and the Pacers sort of trusted again that their conditioning is going to help them out because they're so used to pressing people, so used to playing so fast, and eventually does work out for them in the end. They managed to pull out just a remarkable game. We're definitely one of the all-timers basically in Pacers playoff history, you'd have to say, for them to put this together. They put out some stat, and I can't even guess what this number is, that basically like 3 teams have ever won when they've been down by 7 with 48 seconds to go, and it's 3 in 1,000 in some ridiculous figure, and the Pacers have done it twice in the last 8 days. Remarkable stuff. They go back to Indiana up 2-0 on the number 1 seed in the East, playing a team that's missing some guys, might still be missing some guys, so they could not be in better shape coming out of here in Cleveland. So we'll obviously have more for you on it as it goes forward, but just massive win for the Pacers tonight in Cleveland, and we'll see you back in Indy on Friday.